Assalamu alaikum everyone and good morning. My name is Zoufishan Latif and I am lecturer at Department of Food Engineering and Biotechnology here in the University of Engineering and Technology New Campus. I'm really glad to be here to be able to present my work in the second International Brain and Biomedicine Conference, and I'm really grateful for the organizers of this conference to give me a chance to be able to represent my research work. The topic of my work is sustainable utilization of the waste chapati for the production of fermentable sugars, which was done in affiliation with School of Biological Sciences in the Punjab University. Without further ado, I would like to move towards the introduction and methodology of my work. Food waste is such a problem that FAO stated that almost 35% of the food that is produced in the world is wasted. And when we talk about Pakistan, the numbers are even higher, which leads up to 40%. And we know that our economy is crippling and there is a lot of issues of malnutrition and hunger and poverty. We need to utilize this food in such a way that it is sustainable and does not harm the environment. When we talk about the traditional uses or waste disposal methods, we know that incineration and landfills are adopted, and these methods are producing greenhouse gases and numerous other environmental effects and problems. So I decided to use the chapati waste, which is, as we know that flatbreads are almost the staple food of 1.6 billion people in the world, and a lot of chapati waste is produced in the food. So I decided to collect this chapati waste and to enzymatically hydrolyze this chapati waste by numerous enzymes like glulanase and alpha-amylase from Thermococcus burdekinensis and commercially obtained amyloglucosidase to yield fermentable sugars, which are the precursors of very important and other significant products like bioethanol, biochar, and especially they are used in the chemical industries to produce adhesives. The background of my research is, as I already discussed, that I wanted to use these wasted food in such a way that it does not harm the environment. It is both sustainable and cost effective, and the main goal of my study is to utilize this food with eco-friendly approaches and lower cost. The methodology that I adopted in this research was to collect the chapati waste from the main and local bazaars of the Lahore, which was visually free from any fungal growth, and then it was subjected to the proximate analysis. Then further, this chapati waste was optimized for substrate concentration for enzymatic hydrolysis, which was further subjected to the individual hydrolysis by enzymes alpha amylase and glulanase individually, and then amyloglucosidase was used with these enzymes in combination to a maximum utilization of the fermentable sugars and conversion of the saccharides that are present in the chapati waste to glucose. Then the fermentable sugars hydrolysates were analyzed through different methods, chromatographic techniques for their saccharide profiling. The results I obtained were that after incubating the 20% weight by volume waste chapati for 48 to 120 hours, the waste chapati slurry produced reducing sugars up to 3,700 to 4,000 micromoles per maltose, which is relatively a significant number of reducing sugars produced, and which can be used as precursors for different methods. Then in this figure, it is represented that the reducing sugars that were released from hydrolysis of 20% weight by volume waste chapati were compared with alpha amylase and glulanase in combination, and we can see from here that the blue bar, which is representing the waste chapati hydrolyzed by plulanase, shows much more reducing sugars, micromoles of maltose than the alpha amylase, which is because plulanase has more activity than alpha amylase because of its double action, because it breaks both alpha 1 to 4 linkages and alpha 1 6 linkages in the sugar molecules. And when we talk about the optimization of the substrate concentration, as it is depicted from here, that 20% weight by volume based chapati was used, and this substrate concentration was optimized because in previous findings we know that 20% weight by volume based chapati produced more sugars rather than 10%. This might be due to the availability of more substrate for enzymatic activity. Then after the individual hydrolysates of alpha amylase and plulanase, they were treated with amyloglucosidase, and amyloglucosidase was added in 2 different concentrations, 2 microliters and 4 microliters. And because I am approaching this results to be cost effective and eco-friendly and sustainable, that's why I wanted to know that which of the concentration, either 2 or 4 microliter are enough for the hydrolyzation, and I found that 2 microliter amyloglucosidase yields almost as much as of glucose content micromoles per ml than 4 microliter amyloglucosidase. So it was considered that 2 microliter amyloglucosidase was enough to hydrolyze the chapati hydrolysates that were present in the chapati hydrolysates for the efficient hydrolysis. Then after all of these results that were obtained, it was understandable that the glucose and sugars that are present in the waste chapati were hydrolyzed by the action of the plulanase and alpha amylase, and the higher substrate concentration, which is 20% weight by volume, yielded higher amount of sugars as compared to the lower substrate concentration. And amyloglucosidase has successfully hydrolyzed saccharides into glucose, and it was considered that 2 microliter amyloglucosidase was enough for the efficient hydrolysis. So these all contents helped me in finding that almost 90% of the saccharides that were yielded from the waste chapati were be able to convert to glucose, and this glucose is, as we know, that it can undergo fermentation and produce different usable products. So it was found that hydrolysis with the plulanase followed by the amyloglycosidase yield better fermentable sugars as compared to alpha amylase because of the multiple activity of the plulanase, because it breaks both linkages, alpha 1 4 linkages and alpha 1 6 linkages. The whole process was aimed to be cost effective and eco-friendly, which was achieved in this study. And the 70% of the sugars that were present in the food waste chapati were extracted and hydrolyzed, and almost 90% of these sugars were converted to glucose. And the unhydrolyzed waste which was generated was 30 to 35%, which is also be used again as an organic fertilizer. The future directions of my research is that these chapati hydrolysates are loaded with micromoles of fermentable sugars, including glucose, and this glucose can undergo fermentation and produce biogas and biofuel, bioethanol, and this bioethanol can be subjected to produce electricity. And we know that whole world needs to find sustainable ways to produce power to generate electricity so that we can consume this electricity for our daily and professional works. So I would like to conclude this presentation that this study helps me in determining potential of the used enzymes for hydrolysis, and further the potential of these enzymes to produce precursors to the production of advantageous and end products in both eco-friendly and sustainable ways for waste disposal and waste utilization. These are the references of this study, and in the end I would like to say that you guys are free to ask any questions and queries that came to your mind, and it was a very good experience sharing this video and presentation with you. Thank you so much.